Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about the third category of composition with wins of Mr. Hidas, the concertos. He wrote concertos for almost all the instruments, including violin concerto, cello, flute, oboe, clarinet, bassoon, saxophone quartet, horn concerto, double trombone concerto, bass trombone concerto, brass quintet concerto with accompanied with band. But I would like to talk about his piano concerto with band because this is one of the pieces they will make Hidas Beethoven of the band. It's a very complex. Why he wrote that? Because he was a piano keyboard player. He played the organ, the piano, the harpsichord, the celeste, and he composed it because I asked him to do that. Let's talk about the first movement, and let me show you what I mean about that. Why are we talking about this piece? Here it is. So as you could hear, there are lots of ideas and contrasting materials, but let's see the score first, what we heard and how it is constructed. Here is the score, the wind band score, very traditional score in terms of classical music. You can see that he uses the woodwinds, the piccolo, the flute, the oboes, the English horn, and the bassoons in the first group of instruments. In the second group, is the E flat clarinet, the three B flat clarinet, and the bass clarinet. Again, the clarinet family became covering, like the strings in the symphony, covering the entire human voice range. The saxophones is the same, two alto, tenor, baritone saxophone after the horns that are the connecting instruments between the woodwinds and the brass. You can see the trumpets, trombones, and following that bass section of the brass, the euphonium, the tuba, added a contrabass, and he puts the piano right above the percussion instruments. Why? Because the piano is also a percussion instrument. The hammers are hitting the strings. This is why in German they call this Hammerklavier, the hammer piano hitting the strings. But when you can see, wow, he starts the first movement, the piece with a huge gong beat. Wow, like the big movies. And some stop thinking, stop doing anything else, come and listen to music. After what is happening, you can see that there is a down moving model scale, La so fa mi, no G sharp, absolutely clear model. And after you will see this the model scale, you can see that he puts it on the brass instruments plus the contrabass, but he also adds all the bass woodwind instruments, the baritone saxophone, the bass clarinet, and also the bassoon. So all the bass instruments that play comfortably that range. But what makes this first movement very unique, not only because he gives a different tempo for that, says moderato 88, and the next bar, and it's in 4/4, and after the main tempo, the main theme, the main session of the first movement starts in 3/4, and in allegretto, a faster tempo, that is again has a very different reason. But let's go back to this chord progression that we have here in the very first bar, contrastingly to the bass down moving modal scale. There's an up moving, very nice chord progression in the brass instrument, the trumpets and the trombones. That is the entire music theory, history of music theory. In the second beat, there is a nice diatonic cluster. On the third beat, it's the whole note cluster. And on the fourth beat, in the place of the dominant, he adds a so-called alpha chord. there is a nice dominant seven with the perfect four up from the seventh. This is how I was taught in school when I studied theory, that we call that as the alpha chord. And after, in the next bar, in 3/4, he brings us back to the Baroque, a nice motif, an arpeggiated minor chord with a descending chromatically following a nice movement with a counter melody on the bass instruments. This is a down moving, short notes, 16 notes, figurative material that is contrasting with an up moving legato material in the basses. Again, all the bass instruments are playing that against the piano, the woodwinds, and bar 3 in that range when the horns can join to that group. He adds the horn to them. After we can see that this nice motif is moving up a fifth, and again following the circular fifth motif. And after, in the next bar with the syncopation, we go to the 20th century new musical genre. From the Baroque, we go to Joplin, the ragtime. So it's another journey, not only a music theory journey, but also a stylistic journey from the Baroque keyboard genres in the newest 20th century keyboard genres, Joplin's ragtime, also represented in this piece. This is just amazing. You see how many level of contrast he put it there, how he summarizes music theory, how he's summarizing in few bars the history of the keyboard instruments, but you will love it even more when you listen to it from a band. Let's see how it is. Wow, it's a recording. What a surprise with me. I hope you will love that. Here it is. Let me play you a little bit. Wow. I hope you love Hidas and you love this third category too, because you remember I talked about the playful Hidas, after I talked about the nationalistic Hidas, and now the concertos of Hidas. This is why he's so important in the history of wind band in the 20th century. I hope you love it and you can't wait for my next presentation about the second move.